What's up everyone and welcome back to Reload Reacts. My name is Trey and today we are going to look through r/EntitledPeople, the subreddit for those who are insane and think the world revolves around them. This first post is by CallMeDestinova42. I finally told my father's infantilizing friend that I hate him. Years ago, my dad met Harold through mutual friends and they hit it off. I was 18 in college when I met him and we never had a close relationship. However, he always seemed to think of himself as a family friend, and was extremely infantilizing and condescending towards me. Every time I saw him, I'd try to tell myself it wasn't that bad, only for him to prove me wrong less than a minute later. Harold would disrespect my boundaries, say things like, "You're not 19, you're a baby," while I was talking to other people and patronize me, my education or my hobbies whenever he had the chance. He always noticed that annoyed me, which he'd playfully ask if I hated him. I always said no, but only for my father's sake. The final straw came the day Harold interrupted a barbecue to say, "I really like you, even though you're an impolite brat." I was 20 years old. I'd been quiet all day working on a paper during the barbecue, but replied patiently and politely whenever anyone addressed me. And even if that hadn't been the case, I knew he didn't have the right to talk to me like that. After that, I started making an effort to avoid any events I knew he'd be attending. Yesterday was my father's girlfriend's birthday. They threw a small lunch party at my dad's apartment. I went there with my fiancée and our 6-month-old son. Aww. Harold was there. I hadn't seen him in months, but he still talked to me as if I was a dumb child. Never mind that I'm engaged, a mother, and 26 years old. I spent the whole party ignoring his helpful advice about me being too young to get married or be a mum. It helped that most of the other guests seemed to disagree with him. My baby spent most of the afternoon sleeping. There's a bassinet in my old room. He woke up hungry, so I went to breastfeed him and excused myself from the party for a while. I got back to jokes and comments, all from Harold, about how I was probably struggling if my son was managing to leech me away for so long. He went on to interrupt a conversation I was having with another of my dad's friends to question pretty much everything about my parenting. He doesn't even have custody of his daughter, by the way. And to make more comments about my age. I decided I couldn't take it anymore. After he asked if I'd thought about giving up my baby for adoption, I got my son and told my fiancée we were leaving. I said goodbye to everyone except Harold. When we got to the door, Harold came to ask why we were leaving. I tried to make up an excuse, but he kept trying to make us stay. After a small back and forth, he jokingly asked if I hated him, and this time I said, "Yes, I do. Can we go now?" He didn't say anything, and we left. On the way home, my fiancé said he was proud of me. I would be too. My father called this morning to say the opposite. We had a small fight, but ultimately decided to drop the subject. I'm sure this isn't over, but if it keeps going, it won't be because of me. This is far from my proudest moment, and a small part of me regrets it, but I am done with that guy. Edit. To answer some common questions, I don't think Harold is in love with me. Harold didn't tell me to give up my son. He asked if I'd thought of doing so when I got pregnant. It was still an awful question, especially since he interrupted a conversation I was having with someone else, my dad's girlfriend's pregnant friend, who was asking about my own pregnancy and delivery to ask it. I don't like making a big deal out of things unless necessary. If I'm uncomfortable, I leave. If I don't like someone, I avoid them. It's usually less stressful. The fight between me and my dad ended when I told him about the adoption comment. I don't think he gets that's not the only reason I left, but it was definitely what broke the camel's back. I really don't need my father to stop being friends with Harold. He's a grown man capable of making his own CP decisions. I never told my dad I hated Harold because I never thought I had to like him in the first place. He's my father's friend, not mine, and I've been distancing myself from Harold since I was 20, meaning I haven't seen him much in the last 6 years. My fiancée was on the other side of the room and wasn't listening to Harold's comments. I filled him in when we got to the car. He's 100% on my side. Edit. I wrote an update a couple hours ago. Hey guys, I wasn't going to write an update, but I just got some free time and figured I'd fill you in. I'll start by addressing the very frequent assumption that Harold has feelings for me. I really don't think that's the case. His comments always came out as annoying and condescending, but never sexual. But I will say that your comments scared the S out of me. and the fact that the general consensus was F Harold was weirdly heartwarming. I also wanted to add that while I did regret what I said a little bit, I never doubted I'd done the right thing. I think most of my regret came from the fact that my 8 years of keeping the peace were over. It took some time for the relief to sink in. Truth be told, I've been wanting to do this since the barbecue incident, which was when I went from I don't like that guy to I can't stand that guy. My father called Harold the day after I made my previous post. When confronted about the adoption comment, he tried to twist it as him being genuinely concerned about me being a mum so soon, and that he didn't think I knew what I was doing. He did apologise to my father. I don't buy any of that. The next day, my dad told me about the call. He said I should forgive Harold for what he thought was an honest misunderstanding. He also told me I should apologise too, since I'd overreacted by telling Harold I hated him for such a small reason. Many of Harold's past comments were made with my father close by. It often happened in the middle of conversations with other people, so he'd be too distracted to register them. He also wouldn't notice them most of the time. My dad doesn't pay enough attention to anything that doesn't either concern or anger him, and he'll most likely forget about it until he gets angry at something else later anyway. He's like a meth head goldfish. We also have different definitions of what's offensive, so he'd never think they were a big deal. I told my father I wasn't exaggerating when I said I hated Harold, and that the adoption comment was far from being the only reason. I listed most of the condescending treatment and comments I could remember, including the ones from the party. He didn't remember any of them. I made it very clear that I'd hated Harold for years prior to the party, and that I had nothing to apologise for. I then stated that I'm no longer coming to any events Harold is invited to. My father doesn't need to stop being friends with him, or even stop inviting him to stuff, but he can no longer expect me to show up at the same place he is. I will ask him beforehand, and if he lies, I'll leave. My father called me dramatic, but I pointed out that I've been avoiding Harold for 6 years now, and no one even noticed, so it clearly wasn't a problem. I've only seen him a handful of times since the barbecue incident, and only twice for more than a few minutes, the lunch party last week and another party back when I was pregnant. It obviously didn't ruin my father's life. I'm not obliged to like his friends any more than he is to like mine. There was some back and forth, but he agreed to my terms. We spoke yesterday about something else, and he mentioned Harold was upset. I ignored that. I'm not going no contact with my father. Yes, I'm very well he's an a-hole, and I came really close to cutting times with him in the past few years, but I ultimately decided it wouldn't really fix anything. Maintaining my relationship with him has gotten a lot easier since I moved out, as we only see each other a couple times a month. He gets frustrated that I don't call or text much, but doesn't complain about it anymore. I don't see the point in going no contact with someone who no longer has any say in how I live my life. I'd rather just take a note of what my father did wrong when I was growing up and then make sure to raise my own kid differently. He's on thin ice though, and he has been for some time. He's not allowed to babysit, mostly because I don't trust him to spend more than an hour alone with a baby without falling asleep on the couch. I began pushing for him to start doing therapy back when I got pregnant, and he finally got started back in June. His behaviour around me and my younger sister, who still lives between our very divorced parents, has improved a lot since, and I have made it clear to him that he won't be allowed near my son if he stops attending. This is the first time in my life my father has improved his behaviour. It's hard to be hopeful, but I'm trying. And if I ever do go no contact with my father, it won't be because of effing Harold. So that's it. Overall, I'm glad I don't have to deceive anyone anymore. My relationship with my father is rocky, but I won't dwell on it. My main responsibilities are my son, my fiance, and my job, and that's not changing anytime soon. Second update. Hey guys, wow, I can't believe it's been over a year since I last posted about this. I planned on updating some time ago. These past few months, I've been caught up in raising a toddler, getting married, yay, working like crazy, and rewatching Supernatural. Needless to say, I've been pretty busy. Openly avoiding Harold has been working pretty well. My father has been respecting my boundaries. Whenever he invites me and my husband over for lunch or dinner, I ask who else will be there. If Harold's coming, he tells me. He hasn't lied so far, and doesn't usually insist when I tell him I'm not coming. Since my last post, I've only seen Harold once, at my dad's birthday party a few months ago. Yes, I knew he'd be there. My father promised he'd tell him not to talk to me. Also, some of my father's friends' kids, most of whom I used to babysit, would be there. I hadn't seen them in a while, and I love them more than I hate Harold. I ended up spending most of the party with my son and the kids. Harold didn't talk to me at all, so I guess my father was true to his word. My husband and I did catch him staring at us a couple times, but I decided to ignore it. I caught my husband staring back once, and the walking marshmallow I married actually managed to look threatening. I love this man. You know who did try to talk to me? Harold's girlfriend. Yes, he has one now. She interacted with me twice. First, she came over to coo over my son before making a comment about how he needed a haircut. Ha ha ha, I already hate you. Later, she approached me and said, "You're shy, aren't you?" I said no. She laughed and said, "Yeah, you're shy." She said all that in the same tone one would use to talk to a 6-year-old. I managed to keep my expression schooled. Otherwise, I would have told her I'm not shy, I just chose to spend the whole party with my kids because they were better company than her and her annoying boyfriend. So yeah, based on both my interactions with her, Harold's girlfriend is insufferable. In other words, they're perfect for each other. I don't have much else to add. My father broke up with the woman he was dating last year. Long effing story, and has a new girlfriend. She is not annoying or psychotic, and I actually really like her. They won't last a year. My relationship with my father is still not perfect, by the way, but it has improved. He actually started apologizing to me a lot more often. I don't know whether it's the therapy or the fact that motherhood has apparently made me terrifying, but I'll take it. And I'll give credit where it's due. He's a very good grandfather. I'm also glad my father is respecting this Harold boundary. I very much don't want this man in my life. Honestly, I'm pretty satisfied right now. My little boy is thriving. Part of me really misses the baby times, but I grow prouder and prouder each day. Getting to know my kid has been fantastic. Aw, well that was a happy ending. I'm glad it all worked out for them. This next post is by Callie2988. Entitled Couple Plan a Photo Shoot at My Gazebo. I, 50F, rent a place along the river in Ontario, Canada every year in August for 10 to 14 days. My rental includes exclusive use of a cabin, private deck with hot tub and a furnished gazebo. Mine is the only rental with gazebo. Just east of my place is another smaller cabin with just a dock and hot tub. I get back from a quick grocery shopping expedition. As I am unpacking my car, a young woman, EW, walks over and climbs on my deck. She has obviously either just showered or just gotten out of the hot tub. She's in a bathrobe. EW: "Hi, I just wanted to stop by and tell you that me and my partner will be doing a photo shoot in the gazebo tomorrow morning. Just letting you know as a courtesy, since we will be moving your boats out for the photo shoot. Don't worry, we will put them back." Now, the gazebo is attached to the deck which surrounds my rental cabin. My kayaks are in the gazebo when rain is forecast. It's been raining on and off all day. Now, I have exclusive use of the entire area. No one from the either rentals is supposed to come near my area. This info is part of the owner's orientation for all new arrivals. I'm standing at my cabin door with grocery bags in my hands, dumbfounded that she thinks she can take over the gazebo that is part of my rental. So, are you staying here alone? Or do you have your husband and kids with you? Do you own the cabin? How much did it cost? How long have you been there? Bullet quick questions, no pauses for answers. You're in my private space. Please leave. I'm just being friendly. No, you're intruding on my space and invading my privacy. Your questions are intrusive and creepy. You will not be doing a photo shoot tomorrow or any time in my gazebo. Please leave now. No need to get snippy. We are doing the shoot tomorrow, so you better not interfere. Given your attitude, I think it's best that you head into town by 8. Don't come back before 2. Not happening. Get off my deck, get out of my space now. Stamps foot. You're being unreasonable. You're the only one with a gazebo. You need to share. No, I don't. Leave now. I went into the cabin, locked the door and immediately messaged the owner. I've been renting here for years. The owner and I have become friends. They didn't show up for their photo shoot, and the owner had to chase them out of the rental the next morning. They were still in bed an hour past checkout time. They're going to have a photo shoot in your rental. and move your boats. What? Huh? And it made it sound like they were just going to do it. They didn't actually ask, they just said, we are going to do this. And you are going to deal with it. Which is just a crazy response. This next post is by Annual Zucchini 9597. Sister wants my wedding because it doesn't count as I'm gay. This is so unreal to me that a person has this much audacity, but apparently my sister does. IF28 met my soon-to-be wife 35 Noah when she moved to my country for work. She was freshly divorced but has a little girl who is 5 called Lena. Lena is the sweetest and it's been wonderful getting to know her. Noah divorced her husband after realizing she was gay and he ran for the hills stating he didn't want anything to do with her or Lena in case she passes it on, whatever the F that means. I proposed to Noah 10 months ago as I know she'd be too nervous to. It wasn't extravagant, I just asked her over dinner with Lena's blessing. We've agreed we want it simple and intimate for the wedding. Her first wedding was big and she hated it, so just family and close friends. My parents have offered to give us some money towards it, even though we've reassured them that it isn't going to be a big affair. But they wanted Lena to get a pretty flower girl dress and wanted to pay for my dress and whatever Noah will wear, probably a suit. Enter my entitled younger sister Kate, 25, who acts like she and her BF are engaged, but he's too scared to actually ask her. She's the golden child, spoilt and gets whatever she wants. She's made some remarks about Noah already having a child and being a divorce, but I told her to lose the ignorance. Just because she decided to stay in our small hometown and not expand her personality doesn't mean she can say yes like that. Over dinner last night, she started whining how I didn't need any money, and she didn't know why we were bothering with a wedding when Noah has done it all before, but has suddenly decided she's gay and wants to have another go at marriage with a woman. This is something Noah is insecure about, so I get protective of her. Kate went on to say that she could resume her first wedding dress and started cackling. Her BF looked embarrassed and my parents told her to be quieter, but no one said anything else. My parents have come at me and said it made sense to them if they give more money to my sister's wedding fund, as it will be her first and only wedding, not even engaged yet, totally ignoring the fact that I've never been married. I told them to keep all of their money, as it wasn't welcome if they were going to shame my wife and stepdaughter. We are perfectly able to fund it on our own. Edit. I didn't say it, as they've never been homophobic towards anyone or when I came out as bi, but I do wonder if a little part of them feel a straight wedding deserves more funding than a gay one. Since people are asking, Katie asked for the majority of what they'd offered me to be taken back and put away for her. So that's what they've said they will be doing. I never asked for the money in the first place. Also, Katie said, why did we even need a reception if there wasn't going to be a bride and groom? Why have a normal wedding? So yeah, she doesn't think a gay wedding should be as important. The entitlement. Wow. That's insane. The audacity that sister has to act like that. That is not cool. It doesn't matter who they're marrying. It's a ceremony. Like, why does it matter? This next post is by Ian Moves Out. Entitled Ex-Landlord demand I leave behind the washer and dryer I paid for. So for the past 2 years, I-25M lived in a small apartment building. The apartment didn't have laundry room for the building when I moved in, but did come with hooks up for a washer and dryer in the apartment. So I too bought them myself, because I work for a wildlife sanctuary and get pretty dirty during my work. Just the other day I had to chase down and wrestle one of our wild boars, Bacon. We did name him that. He came with that name, who loved to escape his pen and thinks it's funny to play chase. I got me completely dirty. I was covered in grass stain and mud, so I very much need them. My boyfriend and I just got engaged, and since my lease was up I moved into his house with him. I finished moving everything out of my old apartment yesterday. I thought nothing about taking my washer and dryer with me as I had bought them. My boyfriend had some, but they were old and kept breaking down and were costing too much to have fixed. Well, I woke up this morning to multiple missed calls from my old landlord. I left my phone number and new address in case any mail was delivered to my old places. I called him back and he asked me why the washer and dryer were gone. I explained that I took them with me. He started freaking out, saying that he had to put that the place had a washer and drying in the ad for the place. Apparently I've raised the rent due to them. He started to demanding I bring them back because the new clients he has set up to move and has already signed the lease are not interested in the place without them. Even threatened to call the police if I don't take them back. I got angry and told him that I would do no such thing, reminding him that they belonged to me, I bought them and still had the receipts from when I bought them. As well as text from him when I moved that explaining I was buying them myself. He again threatens to call the police. I told him to do it and see what happened and hung up at that point. Personally, I don't think I'm in the wrong. I bought them and they weren't cheap, so I feel I have the right to take them. My boyfriend is on my side, but today the co-worker said that they think I'm the a-hole for not telling the landlord I was taking them. In my opinion, that should have been obvious. I paid for them. Why would I leave them? Well, the landlord went through with calling the police because the next day they showed up. Honestly, nothing noteworthy really happened. I explained to them what was going on and showed them the receipt for the washer and dryer as well as the text from the landlord from when I told him I was buying them. The cops took my statement and left. My boyfriend's father is a lawyer and he is going to be contacting my landlord and sorting everything out. He advised me not to respond to landlord anymore for the time being. The top comment reads, "Your co-worker is an a-hole and an idiot." Yeah, you bought them yourself. Why would you? Yeah, no, it makes sense. Anyway, I think that's going to be about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the stories in r/EntitledPeople. Let me know what you'd like to listen to next in the comment section below. And also hit that subscribe button because I post new Reddit content every single day. My name is Trey, this was Relo Reacts, and I will see you in the next video.